I have always been a R&D person, and science and technology have fascinated me. And ever since the time when I was in college, I ended up or gravitated towards fields that allowed me the challenges that technology could solve. And in the industry, especially in chemical industry, there are lots of such challenges. On one side, we would like to develop new products which can improve humankind, can fulfill societal needs, and on the other side, chemical industry is known for having a large environmental footprint. So any technologies that can help in increasing the sustainability of chemical industry are always welcome. I have a brief stint with Larsen and Toubro in their projects division for a few years. Again, that was as a process engineer, subsequent to which I have also made forays into postdoctoral research. For a few years, I was an adjunct faculty in University of Colorado at Boulder, doing research on polymeric membranes and polymeric thin films. After which, I have worked for more than 12 years for GE Advanced Materials and what it later became, which is Momentive Performance Materials. Very recently, I made a job switch and joined Grasim Industries. Now I am with Grasim Industries in the Pulp and Fiber division. You have to take up advanced education, at least a postgraduate degree. In my case, I did my B.Tech in chemical engineering from IIT Bombay, continued in IIT Bombay for a master's. In master's, I got a flavor for research, and that was more about modeling and simulation, mathematical modeling for physical phenomena. And then I pursued my PhD in membrane technology, beyond which as well I have pursued postdoctoral research. Now what all this helps you do is allows you to focus on a particular field for a long time, and that you kind of gain experiences and skills that then you can draw upon in order to tackle projects of a technical nature. I don't think that a PhD is particularly necessary. Certainly, a person needs to be able to draw upon his or her expertise and education. And typically, when you pursue advanced education, especially if you do masters in any particular branch, then you get exposed to advanced level courses, which sometimes can become very, very useful. So having a master's would certainly, I believe, be a prerequisite for doing research and development, but that you could have a bachelor's degree as well and still be a very very good researcher. What really you need is a passion, and you should be driven by curiosity. So it is the curiosity comes as in trying to ask the questions. It's okay if you ask the questions that 1,000 people before you have asked. You also need to have the self-confidence in yourself to question and have the belief in yourself that, hey, there could be 1,000 intelligent and smart people who have asked this same question, but I believe they might not have thought the way I have thought. And many times the discoveries and breakthroughs come from what we believe is probably trivial in our mind, but is often not so trivial to the others. So when it comes to research and development, one thing that is taken for granted is your domain expertise. And in this case, the domain expertise only comes by having a lot of depth in whatever you are doing. So you need to be able to think very deeply on certain problems, and at the same time be able to draw out on your knowledge from across a wide sector of fields. They would have done a lot of research on polymer synthesis, polymer processing, or polymer development. I have chemical engineers in my team. It is very necessary for me and my team to be able to think of very creative chemistry solutions. So we also have people who have specialized in sciences. It is we have chemists, very talented chemists in our team, analytical, synthetic. So it's a bunch. So it takes all these different skills to kind of come up with innovation. In my present company, we make viscose fibers, and these viscose fibers ultimately go into making a lot of different clothings. There are different ways in which you can tweak the chemistry of viscose process itself, and every percent improvement in the process efficiency or every percent decrease in the raw materials that you use for making the fibers and hence the fabric goes a long way into reducing the footprint and increasing the sustainability of the process. The emphasis is on looking at the chemistry of the viscose process very closely and seeing how you can make this chemistry more efficient. In my previous company with Momentive Performance Materials, we were developing a new catalyst. Catalysts are things that accelerate reactions. And sometimes if you want to react A with B, a reaction is so sluggish, and with just a tincture of the catalyst, these reactions can happen in minutes. It boiled down to being able to scale this technology and being able to manufacture this catalyst at a reasonable quantity so that it would become industrially relevant. So we first made the catalyst in very small quantities in a couple of grams, and that was easy. But as you kind of increase the scale of the operations, you have to start thinking of many different things. Now let me tell you that when we actually scaled this up, and that was our eureka moment, where we were now at a stage where we were making the catalyst at 50 kilogram scale, which was a significant scale up. Scenario is changing, has changed, and has changed for the good. As I look at it from an R&D perspective, we are in an era of open competition, and it's an open marketplace. The trade barriers have come down. The realization is that the more barriers that you put, then those actually do more harm to the progress of a society. So what that means is that none of the sectors today is a protected sector in India, and the industry here has to gear up and be competitive for competition that is going to come from abroad. You always have to be on your toes, and your operations and your manufacturing has to be the most efficient. You need to be able to deliver good services, good products at the most cost-effective price for your customers. I would say that the institutes of higher education in India certainly are top-notch. So whether it is the Indian Institute of Science in Bangalore, or it is any of the IITs or the ISERs, so we have some of the most creative and the best academicians in these institutes. So I know for a fact that some of the best facilities are accessible to students at IIT Bombay, and I know that the same thing about ISC also. International education gives you that extra dimension and that experience of how things happen in a different society or in a different environment. That exposure is opens up your own attitudes given a chance. If you have the opportunity, certainly I think I would encourage people to pursue an international education. Environmental engineers probably tackle the problems that kind of are direct, right? You can say that 1:1 correspondence, that hey, this is an environmental engineering problem. But anyone with any expertise in any area could end up increasing the sustainability and could end up contributing to the sustainability. As a chemical engineer, the more I make my processes efficient, the more sustainable products I develop, the more environmentally friendly I am becoming. So you could be a physicist, you could be a biologist, or you could be a chemist, or you could be an economist. and still, you could make that impact. And we just need to be very conscious about sustainability. If we find talented candidates who pick our interest and who show that spark of creativity, that spark of passion, then we pride ourselves in being able to always find a place for such candidates. There are some times where we believe that we need to increase our team, and then formally we try to go to colleges and hire students. Since this is a R&D group, and typically we look for people with advanced higher degrees, so usually we work closely with some of the institutes. We work closely with the IITs and try to recruit people who are close to finishing their PhDs or who are close to finishing their master's thesis, etc. We post the openings on the Aditya Birla website, the careers website, and many times we find very talented candidates from who apply online as well. So there are multitude of avenues by which candidates profiles kind of come to me. There is always a need for enthusiastic young engineers in the manufacturing plants, and that is another avenue and route for getting into research and development. So every plant manufacturing location has a technical cell, and the technical cell also, there are a lot of developmental projects that are taken up by the technical cells. So as a person demonstrates flair for doing new stuff, for questioning the status quo, then certainly these persons tend to gravitate towards the more research and more development kind of projects. So that's another avenue where people can get in. A lot of prominent people have said is that you have to put in the 99% perspiration to succeed. So the eureka moments, which, hey, I have cracked this problem, that's just a fleeting 1 minute or less than a second kind of a frame of mind. There is a lot of patience that you have to demonstrate, and it calls for a lot of commitment. The pure sciences would become a lot more important. Probably the heyday of engineering is past us, maybe, or the heyday of technologists is past us. It is progress in pure science that is going to help us make the strides in future. I say this because of all the advances that are happening today and have already happened. The Indian corporates also have realized that the R&D activity is going to be an important avenue for them to remain competitive and to become competitive. People need to be guided by passion, and a person probably can self-reflect and understand what one's strengths are and what one's passion and liking is, right? So we have these glamorous areas, and we always have as role models, especially when we are in college or pursuing our bachelor's degrees, of what are the success stories of our seniors who went to IITs and then to IIMs and then became the CEOs and the CTOs and the COOs of companies, and it's certainly necessary, and we need more of that kind of leadership to come from the millennials and come from the subsequent generations.